Leave the Hornets after 8 seasons. Wasn't easy, but it was the right one.
I would definitely say it was one of the hardest decisions of my life. Of course, Charlotte's all I know. I've gave that organization everything I've had, every single night. My time was up there. I'm ready to start a new chapter, especially here with, the Celtics. It's a winning organization, and I want to win. That's what I'm about. Throughout my basketball career and as a pro, I haven't won consistently, and I just want to get a taste of that.
So this is how the Celtics roster may look come October. Kemba and Cantor will provide some much-needed experience to this young Celtics team, and the sharp-shooting rookie Carson Edwards could be Kemba's backup. For more, let's get you back to First Take.
All right, thank you so much, Kemba, taking over for Kyrie. Max, how big of a threat are the Celtics in the East?
They're a big threat. I want to remind everyone last season, a lot of people took the Celtics to get out of the East, maybe go toe-to-toe with the Warriors in the finals. And it was a rare example, the Celtics last year, of the whole being less than the sum of its parts. And it was like, it's not, when is enough too much last year for the Celtics? Actually too many good players on the team, and the coach did a poor job. Brad Stevens, the brightest young coach in the NBA, lauded. Is he the next Popovich? Is he even better than Popovich already? Did not handle it well enough. No one cries for a team that has so much talent that it's too much talent and there's a chemistry problem. Stop. Nevertheless, that's what it was last year. Now, let's look at this year for a second. They're going to miss Al Horford, no doubt, both ends of the floor and in the locker room. But what in exchange is happening? Kyrie Irving's a better player than Kemba Walker. He's like Kemba Walker plus. He's the A, Kemba Walker's the A minus. And Kyrie, scores better in isolation than Kemba Walker, even though Kemba isos a lot and everything. But Kemba isos a lot in Charlotte because he had teammates that weren't that good. I'm not convinced that he's going to destroy the team with ISO play because of the situation he's in now. I think he'll share the ball, especially when you're feeding the ball to guys like Jason Tatum. Now let's look at what else happened last year. Gordon Hayward. Stephen A. Smith has made a lot of the fact that Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge were so insistent on getting him back in the starting lineup all the time. It ruffled feathers in the locker room and impeded the development of the young forwards, Tatum and Brown. But guess what? Hayward is coming back from an injury that usually the first year you ain't that good. It's the second year you get back to being most of yourself. And who is Gordon Hayward? He's an all-star caliber, two-way forward who does not need the ball to be effective. He can get out in the open floor and score in transition. Jaylen Brown can shoot and score and defend. The guy who really needs the ball now is Tatum. And he has a point guard to get it to him who can also score. They still have interesting players, coach. Kawhi's out of the conference. Brogdon and Mirotic are gone from Milwaukee. The Sixers are the beast of the East. But the Celtics are right there with everyone else.
I can't agree with you at all on this. Here's the truth. When you look at this matter, when this team was incredibly successful, Brad Stevens with Kyrie and Gordon out, what were they good on? Defensively, they were a juggernaut. Yeah. They were able to switch 1 through 5. Horford anchored the defense. Rozier was a dog. Smart was a dog. And then you swap that out with what? Cantor, Hayward, and your man Kemba? Now, Kemba's a dog offensively, and I believe this team can score in the 110s, 120s. They're going to be able to push it with the best of them. But that identity for Boston has always been defense. And in terms of Brad, they execute. So, I mean, that's a huge step back.
That's why I'm kind of on the fence between the two of you, because they are talented. They have talent top to bottom. I don't understand. I don't necessarily agree with you that Kemba coming in won't present the same fit issues that Kyrie had, because Kemba, I think, as much as everyone says Kemba's a great guy, he's been on this lower tier of the NBA. While he's been playing at a high success rate, he hasn't been in prime time. This is his chance. This is his team, essentially. This is his chance. He's going to want the ball. He's going to be the one wanting to make those big shots, which, again, takes the ball out of Tatum's hand, whose development is essential if they're going to be a championship team. So if Tatum does not develop this season because Kemba has the ball, they're still in a similar situation. And the real issue that I have is Al Horford.
Yeah.
They have to get, if they're going to make any deep, and this is about making a run to win the East in the playoffs, they need to win in the playoffs. The two people that they need to get by in the playoffs, and not even two teams, two people, Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Al Horford was the only is the only person that has or one of the very few people in the entire league that can service.
All right, so I agree with this analysis.
How are they going to fix that? They don't have anybody.
Look, I agree with that analysis. Horford is the real loss here. Marcus Smart can play defense off the bench. He's not a big, obviously, whatever, but Horford is the real loss here. Okay, so where do they rank in the East? Toronto loses Kawhi and does not replace him with anything.
Right.
No, right? Okay, and now no DeRozan or anything like that. Toronto
Siakam might take a step up.
Siakam's going to be good. I think Anunoby can be good. I think they're fourth. Indiana did some things. Maybe they could be fourth or maybe third. But I think heading into the season, right, they did some things. Although they lost Bogdanovich. Heading into the season, you have Philly 1, in my opinion, Milwaukee 2. You can flip that fine. And Boston is the clear number 3 to me. But with upside, because yes, you're right, that stuff with Kemba may fit the same way Kyrie did, but there's a chance it could be much better. And Tatum in particular is a guy who I believe can be the best caliber team on offense. And a lot of times in the third year, a guy takes a major step forward. Great as a rookie, the league adjusts in the second year. Now heading into his third year, he has experience, he readjusts. I expect big things from Jason Tatum this year.
In all reality, I thought the big things would have came last year from Tatum, but I do agree. Physically, he's going to grow into his body. People forget just how young this kid is. But versatility, that's what made them strong. It was the fact that they could guard you 1 through 5, as we talked about defensively, and then they could go score. I liken this team back to Isaiah Thomas when they had the #1 seed in the East, but when they ran into LeBron's Cavaliers, they just didn't have enough size. I mean, IT was doing literally everything he can do. As far as locker room, I do agree that Kemba's a step forward. People see his game as loud as it is. This is one of the most humble, down-to-earth, bought-in stars. And when you look at that Charlotte squad, he had to do everything. There were no scrubs in that Charlotte locker room, but literally they didn't have the same talent that Boston has. So I just don't think maturity-wise, versatility, personnel-wise, matchup-wise, they have enough.
So we all agree that maybe it's a question that it doesn't fit perfectly offensively. But I'll say, all right, it fits perfectly offensively. We'll just go ahead and say that happens. No one here at this table has still given me an answer for what they're going to do for Giannis and Embiid without Horford.
Nothing.
So that's why, I mean, if there's injuries or which always happens, if something happens with other teams, I can't put my money on them coming out of the East.
They're going to have to make a deadline deal, which, by the way, Danny Ainge has wheeled and dealed in the past. They're going to have to make a deadline deal for defensive help.
And they have enough.
Front.
They have enough players.
And they have enough assets to do it.
I would bold that they go out and get Steven Adams. If you're looking at that Oklahoma City roster, if it's Chris Paul, if it's Steven Adams, any of those guys, I'll be trying to get them by the deadline. And obviously in the East, there's a 2-team race. There's Philly and Milwaukee, as you said, just before the stars, top to bottom with their size, defense, versatility. There's no other team that matches up. I mean, heck, what are they going to do with Jimmy Butler?
Well, this is what I'm saying. Yes, I agree. It's a 2-team race at the very top. But does Indiana have a puncher's chance? Not in my opinion. Does Toronto have a puncher's chance? Not in my opinion. The Celtics have a puncher's chance. To me, they're number 3 with a puncher's chance in the East.
But you can't say that, Mac, because we're both agreeing they need a trade. They need another.
We all agree.
There's a lot that they hadn't backed up.
But if they have no assets and there's no chance to get a trade, or if what they need is a major superstar, that's one thing. But if you have assets, you have a good GM, and what you really need is a defensive stopper at the 5, that's not like an unthinkable thing to go get.
As currently constructed, I don't fear them knocking off one of those top 2 teams. I agree with you. They have enough people to make the move. But I'm not sure how do we know for sure? I heard everyone say how good a guy Kemba is, and I don't know him nearly as well as either of you guys do. But there has to be something inside of him. There's something inside of all of us that thinks like he wants this chance. Doesn't he want to be taking those shots?
Sure, but it takes 2, a big and a little, and as Kemba and Tatum could be that tandem. Here's the thing: has Hayward made an All-Star team? Yes. Gordon Hayward's been an All-Star. Has Kemba made an All-Star team?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you believe it's impossible? I think Tatum will make the All-Star team this year, but certainly we all admit there's an All-Star caliber player in his future.
He could be special.
If you have 3 All-Stars and you have players like Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, and you have a good young coach, get out of here with that. It's over for them.
If they can't get stops, it's a problem. We keep talking about Horford. I mean, Horford wasn't just a leader. He guards all 5 positions, shoots threes. I mean, he fits. They don't have that.
Kemba Walker, he did average 25.6 points per game last season since 1980. The only players to do that in a season for the Celtics, Isaiah Thomas, Paul Pierce, and Larry Bird. So hopefully he has the pieces surrounding him to help facilitate those same numbers this season. All right, we have much more debate to come here on First Take. Which team in the NFC should be the favorite to head to Miami in February for the Super Bowl? We'll take a look coming back on First Take.
I don't know what's gonna bring